Hey guys! Welcome to Turkish series stars. All the details are in our video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share our video before continuing. Thank you so much. Tonight, the whispers that started as a murmur have turned into a wave sweeping through fan pages, comment sections, and late-night conversations. The claim that Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu might be living under the same roof. That's right. Two names whose chemistry once lit up our screens are once again the center of a rumor that refuses to die down. And while the city sleeps, the internet is wide awake, stitching together hints, analyzing frames, and asking the same daring question: are they sharing a home? It all began innocently enough, with a couple of quiet posts that looked like nothing on their own. A morning coffee near a cream-toned sofa. A book by the window under a soft lamp glow. A balcony view that felt strangely familiar to the most observant eyes. Fans who have followed their every move through the years noticed details that could slip past anyone else, if you weren't already tuned to the pulse of their story. Suddenly, screenshots were everywhere, arrows circling a pattern on a cushion, comments debating whether that was the same ceramic mug that appeared 2 days later on the other account. A coincidence? Maybe. But when it comes to these two, coincidence rarely quiets the crowd. Barış, as always, is a master of understatement. He keeps the spotlight where he wants it, on the work, on the craft, on the next scene that will leave viewers breathless. He has never needed to explain himself to keep the audience on his side. And Elçin, with that serene smile and a gaze that says more than any caption ever could, has remained steady in her resolve: private life stays private. She draws a line, and she keeps it. Not for attention. Not for mystery. But because she knows exactly who she is. Still, when the two of them appear on screen, even in old clips that fans replay night after night, that undeniable spark feels like an unfinished conversation, words left floating between them, glances that hang in the air longer than expected, a rhythm that never loses its beat. What resets the clock on the rumor cycle is not a grand gesture, not a dramatic reveal, but the slow drip of similar moments. Two posts, hours apart, with daylight falling at the same angle. The shadow of a leafy plant brushing across pale walls that look like they could be siblings, if not twins. A dog barking in the distance in one story, then, in the next, the faint echo of the same bark, at least that's what certain fans insist. It may sound wild from the outside, but those who lived through their on-screen rise know every shade of their story by heart. They're the kind of fans who can recognize a location by the pattern of light slipping through blinds. There are people in their circle, friends of friends who would never betray a confidence, who still admit with a cautious smile that the two have been spending a lot of time together. Not a whirlwind, not a storm. Something gentler, something thoughtful. An approach that doesn't race to the finish line just because everyone else is impatient. The word that keeps coming up is simple: slow. Deliberate. No choreographed timeline meant to feed the gossip pages. If they are moving closer, it's step by step, not to fit a narrative but to protect a connection that has already endured years of speculation. And that is exactly why the posts carry so much weight. Barış doesn't flood his feed with behind-the-scenes glimpses of domestic life. Elçin, even more carefully, curates with restraint, a laugh with a colleague, a book recommendation, a self-portrait with shadow and light like a painting. So when both of them go quiet about where they sleep and where they wake, when the daily ritual of separate home snapshots fades into a softer, more ambiguous rhythm, people take notice. Some argue for coincidence with a conviction that makes sense. Two busy professionals have overlapping tastes. Similar furniture, similar views, similar moments. Istanbul has 1,000 balconies with the same breathtaking sky. How many cream sofas can a city hold? Probably thousands. But then come the counter-arguments from the sleuths, those eagle-eyed followers who have archived more footage and more screen caps than a production office, the corner of a frame that reveals a distinctive lamp shape, the hint of a blue vase that appears where it never used to be. The way a breakfast table faces a window, as if the sunrise only makes sense from one specific angle. They string these clues together like beads, each detail clicking into place, insisting there is a thread connecting them all. Still, here we are, with no statement from either of them. As the hours pass and the rumor grows, both stay silent. And that silence has a sound of its own. It's not a denial, not an admission, just a calm refusal to be the water that carries the boat of gossip. They carry on as they always have, professional, disciplined, present. Every time the question is shouted in their direction, it meets only the hush of their focus. And yet, the emotion of it, the pulse of this rumor, is all about hope. For many, the idea of them under one roof is less about snooping and more about a wish that has lingered since the days of their most loved scenes. Everyone remembers how the world paused when they looked at each other, like the air was charged with something more than performance. The word chemistry gets thrown around until it loses meaning, but with them, the word refuses to go stale. It's etched into memory, carried like a keepsake. And now that keepsake sits on the windowsill of this speculation, catching the light again. Insider whispers emphasize what careful hearts already know: if there is a bond, it is being tended with care. Think of it as a garden planted out of sight. You won't see daily updates, you won't be invited to every watering. But one day, a blossom may appear when everyone least expects it. Until then, what we have are fleeting traces. Are they sometimes in each other's spaces? Yes, say those who know them best, but not every visit is a move-in, not every shared morning is a declaration. And you can't build a home out of rumors, no matter how convincing the blueprint looks from the outside. What truly adds fuel to the flames is the simple fact that they once captured a moment in time together that people don't want to let go of. Even if the camera stopped rolling, the audience never left the theater. Fan accounts replay scenes like prayers, comment sections turn into living rooms where strangers become friends over a memory. And in those rooms, the question grows teeth. When neither confirms nor denies, imagination picks up the slack. There's a tenderness about the way the story spreads. It's breathless, yes, but it's also respectful in corners where kindness still rules. Many voices say, let them be. Let them hold what they want to hold in the quiet. Others answer, we're not asking for secrets, we're just reading the signals. And the signals do feel louder lately. The synchronized quiet, the minimalist posts that seem to speak the same visual language, the absence of those once frequent glimpses into separate corners of the city. And then there's the practical side. If they were sharing a space, would we even know? These are professionals who know how to move without leaving footprints. If there is a shared address in the picture, it would be the most thoughtfully guarded secret in a world where privacy is the rarest luxury. It's hard to imagine them turning their lives into a stage when they understand better than anyone where the frame should end. Of course, those who argue it's all coincidence have compelling points too. Two stylish people can land on the same aesthetic without meaning a thing. The same cities breed the same views, the same shops sell the same pieces, and if you want your apartment bathed in golden light, you're going to face your sofa toward the same slice of the skyline everyone else craves. Sometimes a balcony is just a balcony. Sometimes a mug is just a mug. But when you place those coincidences next to the history that brought them here, it's hard not to feel your heart lean in. Because what if? What if the quiet is not an absence of truth but a protection of it? What if the reason the posts look like they're captured in the same tender light is because, well, they are? The romantics don't need proof, the romantics only need possibility. And right now, possibility is everywhere. Back channels hint at a cadence to their days. Work first, always. Scripts, rehearsals, meetings. Then the hush of evenings. Time spent where the phones are turned off and the laughs are private. Not a love screamed from the rooftops, but one that lives in the rooms where the world can't follow. If they are inching closer, they are doing it in a way that respects the years behind them, their fans' faith in them, and their own need for quiet. No rush. No parade. Just something built brick by brick. Every hour, a new post appears in the fandom vortex. Someone found another angle of the balcony. Someone matched the grain of a table. Someone else dug up an older interview where one of them smiled at a question about home and said, with that trademark calm, "That home is where you feel most yourself." The crowd tries to translate that into coordinates, while the ones who know better simply smile and let the mystery live. And so, the question remains exactly where it started. Are Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu living together? The loudest answer is the quietest one: we don't know. Not yet. Maybe not ever, until they choose to say it out loud. But that hasn't stopped the late-night scrolling, the paused screens, the eagerness of hearts that root for a story written in glances rather than declarations. In a world that constantly demands to be fed, their silence is a rare feast of its own. As the rumor cycles back into the spotlight once more, the rhythm repeats, an echo of older days when their partnership set off a cultural heartbeat. The on-set friendship that seemed to hum with something deeper. The interviews where a shared joke flashed like lightning. The premieres where a single look sent entire rooms into a flutter. None of it was planned for this moment, and yet all of it is part of the same constellation. People trace the stars as if they might map a future from them. What gives these latest whispers their power isn't just nostalgia. It's the smallness of the clues paired with the largeness of the emotion they evoke. A plant in the corner of a frame is not a declaration. A similar lampshade is not a contract. But when you put them beside the memories that weld this pair to the pop culture imagination, the tiniest lights glow brighter. You could shrug and move on, or you could linger just long enough to wonder. Meanwhile, they do what they've always done. Let the work speak. They promote, they prepare, they show up on set and turn ordinary days into something transcendent. They support friends, celebrate colleagues, offer gratitude, and take nothing for granted. If there is a shared address beyond the spotlight, it lives where art and life meet in a hush. And that hush, in its own quiet way, is louder than any denial could ever be. So here is where we leave it tonight, with the same tantalizing maybe that started this fire. Are they sharing a key? Are they cooking late-night meals in the same kitchen bathed in soft lamplight, forgetting for a few stolen hours that the world watches? Or are we watching two parallel lives moving in the same direction without ever fully merging? The only true answers belong to them, and perhaps that's the beauty of it. The story can breathe only because it isn't pinned down. The myth can glow only because it isn't forced into words. As ever, the fandom carries the torch. Kindly, passionately, protectively. Some root for a reveal, others root for their peace. All agree on one point: the connection between these two is rare, and that rarity deserves care. Whether the couch we see is the same one, whether the balcony belongs to both of them or to parallel lives framed in similar light, the feeling remains the same. There is a tenderness in the air when their names are said together, a warmth that doesn't ask for proof. And until something changes, until a laugh slips into a caption or a hand appears in a story in a way that leaves no doubt, the rumor will keep drifting across the city like music from an open window. We hear it, we pause, we smile. We don't need to know everything to feel the pull of a beautiful possibility. Maybe that's why this particular whisper won't let go. It belongs to a hope bigger than any single post, stronger than any single denial. In conclusion, the question "Do Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu live together?" remains, for now, an unanswered song. Claims, rumors, and comments swirl across social media, and perhaps the truth will only step into the light if the two of them invite it. Until then, the gossip world will keep watching, peering at the edges of frames, hunting for an unexpected reflection in a window, holding its breath for a clue that may never come. This brings us to the end of our video. If you enjoyed our video, please subscribe to the channel and share it. Goodbye from Turkish series stars.